But at this moment in time, we've got some breaking news to bring you. Letitia James says she is not backing down. She is furious, absolutely furious. She did not anticipate this. She did not expect this, but she's issuing a threat, if you would, to the future president. And she wants everyone to know she's not giving up. I guess even if the whole thing gets thrown out by the Court of Appeals, she's not giving up. This is what we need to worry about, America. Let's cue the tape.
And lastly, I congratulate the President-elect Donald Trump. And if possible, we will work with his administration. But we will not compromise our values or our integrity or our principles. We did not expect this result, but we are prepared to respond to this result. And my office has been preparing for several months because we've been here before. We faced this challenge before, and we use the rule of law to fight back. And we are prepared to fight back once again. Because as the Attorney General of this great state, it is my job to protect and defend the rights of New Yorkers and the rule of law. And I will not shrink from that responsibility.
Oh my gosh. You see, this woman just wants to fight and fight some more. That is what she just told us. Listen, Letitia, you didn't have a case to begin with, which we'll get into, but I want to play some more of what Letitia James just said moments before Kamala Harris conceded the race.
You see, between 2019 and 2021, the Office of the Attorney General took nearly 100 legal actions against the previous Trump administration.
Wow.
Including when he attempted to cap the state and local tax, and when he sought to eliminate funds and grants for law enforcement officers here in the state of New York. We fought to preserve DACA and protect the Affordable Care Act. We fought to prevent a question about citizenship from being on the census because we were concerned about the impact of funding, the lack of funding to the state of New York and how it would affect these programs. We beat the Muslim ban. We stopped the dismantling of the United States Postal Service. We challenged anti-LGBTQ plus efforts. We safeguarded key environmental policies, and we protected access to reproductive care, and we protected the right to organize.
And this is why you lost.
We worked around the clock.
All of it.
To defend these basic rights with our Democratic
basic
colleagues
rights.
across this nation.
You're doing a census, and you can't even ask where you're from? You can't ask if you're a citizen in a darn census because Letitia James wants some kind of bedlam in New York City. I mean, this is coming to you from the same crowd that wanted to defund the police. She spent all this effort going after Donald Trump instead of going after the real criminals in New York City. I mean, that, and I guess, we're talking the state of New York. Don't forget Peanut. Hey, did you see the memes, you guys? These were great. On election day, it was like, this one's for you, Peanut. This one's for you. Peanut was, the squirrel that was euthanized by government. It's kind of weird when, the government can come in and take and kill your pet squirrel. I'm just saying, who, by the way, is an Instagram star. An Instagram star. This woman is suffering from TDS in a massive way. And I kind of thought we were putting this to bed last night. I got really emotional if you were watching live here because it is historic. It is tremendous. You've got MAGA taking over, okay? Not just the Oval Office, but the Senate, the House. It's a popular vote sweep. This is massive. Governorships as well. So people had something to say, and the polls were so damn wrong. They just don't understand reality. Everybody's living in their little bubble. And Letitia wants you to continue living in this bubble. Why? So she can feed her political career. It is shameful. It is disgusting. It is not who we are as Americans, but you might as well hear it because she's going full on Conspiracy. I mean, full-on conspiracy. You ready?
So as you can see, we know their playbook. We know Project 2025 before it was even published. And we have been working both in my office and with other Democratic AGs across this country to make sure that we would be ready to respond to any attempt to roll back our rights. So here we are. We've studied their platforms. We've identified certain possibilities, fact patterns. We've created contingency plans. So no matter what the next administration throws at us, we're ready. We're ready to respond to their attacks. We're ready to respond to any attempts to cut or eliminate any funding to the great state of New York, as the governor outlined. So despite what has happened on the national stage, we will continue to stand tall in the face of injustice, revenge, or retribution. We will continue to protect our most vulnerable and marginalized amongst us, because it is my sworn duty and responsibility to lead that fight, working with the governor of this great state, Kathy Hochul. This is not the time to be fearful, New York, but faithful and steadfast.
Oh my goodness.
Knowing that I, as the Attorney General,
I think
along
she's
with my
running for
entire
president
team,
next.
we are guardians of the law. And we are prepared,
right.
my friends, to fight back.
Oh,
thank you.
My gosh. I mean, watch this, guys. She wants to be the mayor of New York City. I think she's going to be trying to run against President Trump. And this is a woman who has a vendetta. You know, she was being really calm, cool, and collected there. And she made it very clear that she's going after him with all she's got. She's done this before out on the campaign trail, you know.
I've taken on powerful interests like developers.
It's like
I've
the
taken
same
on
thing.
legislators. I've taken on landlords.
She's just
I've
speaking
taken on
faster
powerful
here.
interest in the city of New York because I believe in a good fight. And right now, what we need is someone who understands that you should not be afraid, not be fearful of Donald Trump. We should take
It's
him
the same
down.
thing.
We should sue him all the way to bankruptcy. We should investigate his business interests. We should investigate his business holdings. We should investigate whether or not why he was once in debt and now in a position.
She's worried that he's going to come after her. I mean, look at what they did to him, and for political purposes only. This is her.
Called me venomous. We will fight back to your attempt to bring Trumpism to New York City. He's called me disgraceful. Of the fact that they stole the Supreme Court seat. An illegitimate president and an illegitimate member of the United States Supreme Court. He's called me radical.
Listen, we know he's crazy. We know he doesn't have a sound mind. We know he's out of control. We know he's losing it.
You know who's out of control? Letitia James is out of control. The reason Kamala Harris lost last night, the reason she just had to give that little concession speech, I've got clips I want to show you. The reason for all that, ladies and gentlemen, is because of this insanity. You know, you can be the little boy who cries wolf a few too many times here. They went after him every way they could think of going after him, including Letitia, saying that he didn't have the right to do a private transaction with his bank, that Deutsche Bank somehow, wasn't sophisticated or smart enough to come up with the proper valuation of Mar-a-Lago. And because he inflated in her eyes, because she's somehow the arbiter of the valuation on a real estate property that she knows nothing about, because she knows what it's supposed to be worth, he can't do a deal with his bank in which everybody gets paid back. This case, mind you, is going to be thrown out in the next couple of days. I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. It's at the Court of Appeals, and none of the judges, the 5 judges, have any use for it.
It was using...
I'm sorry, but what's being described sounds an awful lot like a potential commercial dispute between private actors.
Well, to go back to the first question about whether there's other examples of this, there are other examples of this. In the first American case, the Attorney General brought a 6312 case where the transaction at issue was between a very big bank, Wells Fargo, and a professional appraisal firm.
But
And
it wasn't wasn't the concern there that the public would ultimately be negatively impacted and affected by what those corporate actors were doing?
that's that
Okay, so
concern is
the
here
bottom
as
line
well.
on that case is, and by the way, that is the appellate judge speaking to the woman who's effectively representing the Attorney General, Letitia James, there. And she doesn't have a leg to stand on. The thing is getting thrown out